Hi there, everybody. This is Red Hill Eagle. Welcome to Learn to Play TEW 2020, Episode 7 Disaster Strikes. Yep, our plans are put in absolute turmoil in today's episode. This might be quite a shorter episode than the previous episodes. It all depends what else we do. I'm going to show you a couple of little things, and then if I get into booking, that'll probably make it overrun. So, we'll see how we get on. We'll see how we're doing for time. We're going to book a brand new storyline, and I'm going to show you how I do it from start to finish. Now, I'm not, as I said before, I'm not always very creative, and I don't go into much detail. But what I do from a gaming point of view, if you're just looking at ratings, you're just looking at getting people over, you're just looking at, you know, whatever, this is generally how I do it. I've got our little spreadsheet so we can see who's already in a story, and we can have a look at our storylines, and we're going to add a storyline. Now, these all start with ECW and then the name of the story. That's useful if you've got more than one brand. You can have ECW, then the story, WWF, then the story, whatever. If you've got different brands. I actually like to number mine. So I know that the first story is whatever, the second story, whatever. I don't know if that particularly helps me, but what I do first, actually, didn't really need to go into that initially. Go into our roster, make sure we've just got the in-ring role, everything else is turned off, so we've got everybody. And I take a look, and I see who were we looking at pushing. Um, I mean, there wasn't many people. Al Snow is one of them. Now, this is another reason why I have the spreadsheet. So I go, all right, yeah, let's put Al Snow in a storyline rather than coming out of this and going into storylines. And if you've got more than one story, scrolling down all the stories. Oh, yeah, no, he's not in a story. Great. No, I can just look at this and I can go, Al Snow, is he in a story? Flick over to the. No, he's not. Great, right. Let's put Al Snow in a story. Who with? Now, if we want to get him over, we want to put him in a story with someone better than him. If we put him into a story with someone who's too much better than him, then he's not going to get as much out of it because we want him to get a couple of wins during this story, preferably even win the final match in the story. He's not a face, and I did read somewhere a while ago that the face should always win the story. I don't think that's always the case. I think, especially if we've got it loosely enforced anyway, but I think heels can win storylines. Heels can come out on top in the end. It just adds more heat for them for the next story, and then eventually you get the hero, you get the face who eventually topples him. So we want Al Snow, and let's have a look. Let's put him in. I mean, we want Jerry Lynn. Jerry Lynn's already in a story, so we can't use Jerry Lynn. I also want to get Jerry Lynn over as well, so I wouldn't do that anyway. New Jack, we want to be our next TV champion, so he's out of the question. And then you're looking into main event territory. So let's just, for Al Snow's initial story, put him in with someone who's on par with him. So we're looking at another recognisable. Now we've got Axel Rotten. I know he's in a tag team. Doesn't matter too much because all our tag team wrestlers are singles wrestlers. So we could use Axel Rotten, but I'm thinking Barry Horowitz. Because Barry Horowitz, 37, we're not going to push him to the main event. And yeah, I know he's not anyway, but just go through the motions. Barry Horowitz, he's not in a story, great. So we'll have Al Snow. Let's spell it properly. Let's spell it properly. Al Snow. Barry Horowitz. We could choose to put some more people in that story, either as support or a couple more major roles. I was about to say major stars, but major roles. Now we could have Al Snow be in the heel. He could have a couple of people with him, to gang up on Horowitz, or we could have them both have an ally each, and it could create. We could have a couple of tag team matches out of it. I like to mix things up. Some stories I have just one-on-one. Some stories I have one against one. Some stories I have two against two. Some stories I have two against three. I do mix it around. I think just to show you how I go through the motions, I'll just have these two, And if either of them have got managers, I'm pretty sure Al Snow hasn't, no, and I'm very doubtful that Barry Horowitz will have a manager, no. So I'd put them in as support roles if they did. So let's put that in. So storylines, add storyline, 01. I'm just going to put Snow versus Horowitz. Okay, and then we could put a little bit in here, description. Al Snow has beef with Horowitz because of blah, 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 da-da-da-da-da. I don't tend to do that. If I was going into a lot of detail with my games, I would, but I'm not, so I won't. So let's put Al Snow. He was already there, but alphabetical order. Al Snow, Barry Horowitz. Then I go over to my notepad, and I decide how long I want this story to last. Do I want it as just a month? Do I want it as a 2 month, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever? And I decide which pay-per-view we're going to end this at. Now, we could end it on TV, but I always try to end storylines at pay-per-view events. I just think it's the it's the big event. That's where you have the blow-off matches, right? It doesn't always work like that. But so Cyber Slam. So I think we'll have this last February for 98. Now, I have already written the rest in a note of December, there for some of the storylines that we already January, had going. Have it ending I did record it, but I kind of run out of time to show you. So some of the other storylines we've got going on, I've written the ending. So we want to end it February. So we put in Snow over Horowitz end story. And I think the previous month, we'll go to January, guilty as charged, and we're going to have Horowitz win by DQ. Horowitz over Snow DQ. And the reason I've done that is that after this match, Horowitz is like horrified. I want to beat him clean. I don't want a DQ win. I want to beat this guy clean. And that's why you have a follow-up match. And the follow-up match is the blow-off. It's the end of the story. And then both guys move on. Excuse the shadow of the phone on the notebook there. Now, if you have longer storylines, you can plan way ahead. So you could, for example, have a story that we want this story to end in April. We want this story to end here, and we're going to write it in, and this is where it ends. And then what we do in the previous month, we'd have a tag team match between the two, and obviously two others, and we'll have that there. And then we'll have one of the guys wrestle here, and he'll only win because the other guy interfered. And then we'll have another one here where the other guy is wrestling and he gets interfered. And so before you know it, if you've got 7 or 8 storylines all going, and they're all ending sort of months in advance, and you're building up that end with all these other matches, all these other pay-per-views, before you know it, your pay-per-views are filling up before you've even thought about them, because of all the build-up to the end of your stories. I have an example of that in a multiplayer game that I'm playing with someone, WCW versus WWF. So if you don't want spoilers, Brandon, you know who you are, look away now. We are currently in April 97 of our save, and this is going to be my pay-per-view for April 97. But I've got all of these other pay-per-views, all of these matches for these other pay-per-views. I mean, they're not full, no, but they're all matches that have already been put in, building up to story ending matches. Okay, not all of them. Some of them are just title matches. Some of them are matches that I know I just want to happen. Some of them might be matches that I'm already putting in early because I know I want people to turn or that kind of thing. But generally, they're matches that I've already put in because I've planned for a story to end. For example, here, end the story. Booker T is going to win the US title against Luger, and it's going to end that story. And there's a build-up of all the all the other matches for that pay-per-view. Just thought as well, I'll just say on the subject of my notebooks, the other side of the notebook, this side of the notebook, there's nothing in those first, but these are this is just where I put notes that I want to happen that month. So not necessarily TV, like this vacate and retire the TV title. Okay, I didn't want the TV title around anymore, so I just want, like, this month I'm getting rid of it. The previous month it was unified with the US title. Here's probably some more examples as we. So I wanted here to start Stevie Ray face turn and start the Booker T Stevie Ray story. So I knew that on January '97, I knew that in game I needed to click on Stevie Ray, start turn him face, and that was the start of his turn. And then later on in the save, I don't know if I did it on pay per view or TV actually, but somewhere it'll say turn Stevie Ray face or whatever. But anyway, I can't remember. This one, start the Hogan and LA Parker story. Also, if I want things like title changes on TV, I'll put them on this side. Anything I want to happen on TV or behind the scenes goes on the left hand side. The next couple of storylines we book, we'll have them go a bit longer, and I'll show you in more detail what I mean. I skipped ahead a couple of days, and disaster has struck. Shane Douglas hired by WCW. Our champion is going. So they've employed him on a exclusive written. We only have him on an exclusive handshake. The written deal will trump the handshake. I don't know how long he's got left. It's a big blow for us. We're going to have to accelerate Taz's journey to the crown. That's a big blow. We have, however, secured these signings. I think the majority of them, oh yeah, they were the jobbers. Ron Killings, I'm going to look into making him our man. Sabu as well. Let me just remind myself. This one was, yeah, it's a handshake deal, so you never know. We could end up losing him one day as well. But big disappointment with Shane Douglas. Actually, I'm really gutted about that. But it's part of the game. When you're a small company, the more popular you guys get, they're going to attract attention. We'll make these signings. The best strategy to guard against people stealing your workers are to have them on exclusive written deals. That isn't always possible, especially with a smaller company. So I've just come into our roster to have a look at who we have got. Now, Bam Bam Bigelow, he's a major star. That's good. We've got him for, only 5 months, so we'll try and renew that when it comes around. Chris Dandido, he's on a written contract, so probably someone we should be looking to push, really. If originally they had him on an exclusive deal, he's obviously got some sort of talent about him. Rob Van Dam, who's definitely a future star. So again, but all these guys, it's only a couple of years really. Hopefully we'll be a bit bigger then. And Taz, who we were looking at being our next champion, nearly 2 years. So we don't have many. I mean, they're not all super popular. We should probably be looking at having people like Sabu really on a written deal. We can't, as a small company, you can't afford many. You have to have a look at your outgoings, your incomings, and you just have to judge it. Will it be worth my while having this guy on an exclusive written deal rather than a paper show handshake deal? So you've got to be looking at the people who are going to be your main event, the people that you do not want to lose. So we should be looking at the Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, Sabu, Bam Bam Bigelow. Also, I mean, Rob Van Dam, we've already got him. Also, we should be looking at people like Jerry Lynn. I was going to say New Jack, but not really. I know we're pushing him to the TV title, but he's not going to be a main eventer. I don't think he's going to be. He's not going to headline our main show. Same with Al Snow, really. He probably won't get much more than star. I mean, looking down the roster, there's not many at the moment. Ron Killings, I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. I'm going to offer Ron Killings because he's going to be our project. He's going to be the guy we are going to try to push to be a future main eventer. Now, you could. He's a freelancer. That doesn't help. Okay, well, we can probably re-sign him when that ends. It is what it is. So when this deal expires, we can probably re-sign him, but we won't be able to sign him for long if he's a freelancer. You know, we're lucky to get 9 months out of him. So forget that then. We've got to look for someone else to be our project. Okay. Well, we will revisit that. It just goes. I'm recording live, guys. I'm not, going into things and looking at things before I record. I'm finding things out at the same time you are. I mean, I was going to say you can't overdo it. Let's do this with Jerry Lynn. Okay. He's 34, so we've got a good few years out of him yet. Now, I want to offer him an exclusive written deal. Now, for 3 years, they're not going to accept less than 6,000. They just don't. Okay, anyone. They always say if you want me for 3 years, you're gonna have to offer at least six. So, 6,000. That'll guarantee us 3 years. If he was 24, if he was Ron Killings, we could say, I want him for 10 years, and you could probably get him for 15,000, maybe less, without looking. I don't know. There are good things, there are pluses, and there are minuses for that. You're guaranteed 10 years at 15,000, when in 6 years he could be a main eventer who could potentially be earning 80 grand. Okay, so you're thinking, wow, what a saving, brilliant. But you could offer him 10 years, and in 3 years he could become, a complete a-hole backstage, and you don't want it. And you think, oh my god, I got him for another 7 years. What have I done? It can happen. It has happened to me on my WWF 1993 save. I signed Shawn Michaels for 10 years. I should have known better. But yeah, he became a complete a-hole, and I actually kind of thought, I want to get rid of him. I don't want him on my roster. And then if you want to get rid of someone, you've got to pay a lot of money. We don't have that kind of money to be releasing people on, a lot. So if this was Ron Killings, I would probably offer 5. And we could probably get him for 8, maybe 9,000 on 5 years. 10 at a push. You're guaranteed for 5 years. 5 years isn't too bad. If he turns into an a-hole, okay, you got a solid mid-carder for however long, and alright, he's not going to make back. Well, he'll probably make back some of the money that you spent on him, but at least you're not putting 10 years into him. But this isn't Ron Killings. This is Jerry Lynn, who's 34. We're going to offer him 3 years. When we offer him an exclusive contract, it's very possible that other people, other companies will, their ears will perk up. Oh, we don't want ECW to have him exclusively. We'll try and sign him. So there's a risk of losing him. We shouldn't have that. That risk shouldn't come from WWF because we have the non-stealing agreement. But WCW could come along. So we could just think we can quite happily keep him on a handshake deal, but he's not super popular at the moment. We're going to push him. We want him to be. So yeah, I mean, if we have to up that to beat off another company, then we have to up that. But again, let's not overdo it. We've got to think of the money. I only use these intentions sparingly. I don't use them very often. We want him to be a future main eventer. I don't know what that does with regards to, just because we want him to be a future main eventer, that doesn't mean he's necessarily going to make it. Will he be upset at that? Is there a time limit on it? Will he expect to be a main eventer in the next, I don't know, 3 years? I mean, what does it say? Future main eventer. They will expect to be used heavily and not be losing very often. Okay, well yeah. Okay, we'll do it. So he won't necessarily expect to be in the main event, but he'll be expected to be used often and win often. So that's fine. That's kind of what we want. 10% merchandise. Yeah, we've made that offer. The other thing worth doing when you're starting to dish out exclusive written deals, just keep an eye on your money. Now, we don't know what we're making yet, pay-per-view revenue wise or sponsorship revenue wise. I mean, obviously the month hasn't finished yet. We've already spent that, but that we spent quite a bit on our new production, so that's a big chunk of it. But these estimates: wage bill 52,000, estimated sponsorship 46. So we've got to be a little bit conservative. Obviously, we will earn some pay-per-view revenue, and hopefully merchandise revenue will go up a little bit, but we've got to be a little bit conservative. Once we start earning a bit more money, and you can, yeah, we could go in and we could change our project to sports entertainment, in which case our sponsorship will go up quite a bit, probably. But I want to be a little bit true and fair to ECW. Plus, the product I'm using, again, it gives me the opportunity to show you different things. So we won't do that. But you could, in your game, you could say, "Oh, I'm going to give myself a better product that will give me more sponsorship." Yeah, you could do that. If you're mid-game and you want to change your product, depending on how different the product is, it could take quite a long time for you to convert. So from no style to sports entertainment, I imagine I imagine anything from no style would probably wouldn't take that long, maybe 3 months. But if you were going from hardcore to family friendly, I don't know, it might take a year. It's a very drastic change that would be. So that's an option just to increase our sponsorship. But again, I'm not going to go that route. Let's just see how we get on. The end of the month will be clearer when we see, what we've made and what we can expect to make going forward. We'll call that an end to episode 7. Went on for about 20 minutes in the end. I think after what happened with Shane Douglas, and we talked a little bit about contracts as well, it went on for just the right amount of time, I think. So hopefully you've enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe, and leave any questions below. And I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.